The amazing benefits of art. Unlock your child's potential. If you have been paying attention at all to public education for the past 10 years, you know that it is always looking for ways to meet the bottom line or make it budget. This usually means cuts. One of the first programs on the chopping block is art, especially at the elementary grade level. A few weeks ago, I did a brave thing. I looked at our new world, this world of artificial intelligence or AI. And then I asked a question that I feel should have been asked in education decades ago and then repeatedly asked every 5 or so years. What do our children need to learn to be successful in life? Are we teaching the skills, resources, and knowledge to be independent and to be able to learn whatever comes next? Because in all reality, we cannot teach everything that children need to learn, but can we teach them how to learn so that they can then learn what will come next after they are done with their 12 years in the public educational system? Well, I addressed this question in regards to how we teach writing, and there's a link to that article in the notes. So now I'm going to ask you, do we need to teach art? This is a subject that keeps getting cut. So if it keeps getting cut, do we really need it? When faced with the many new skills and subjects that our children need to learn, do we sacrifice a fun one like art to make room for the serious and the important? Just like in writing, we need to go beyond the question and look at what we learn when we learn art. How does it actually benefit our children? This is where I want to go with this. And I'm going to go one step further and give you specific art mediums and talk about the ways they bring well-being. So, how does art benefit young children? Encourage creativity. When children are given a plethora of art supplies and just allowed to create, their young minds not only learn to be creative, but they also learn steps of order. They learn to observe and project, and they work on early decision-making skills. And all of the things I'm talking about with the young children, I have a link to where I got this in the notes. So think of a basic paper plate craft. They will use glitter, markers, paint, etc. They have all kinds of supplies there that they get to choose from. Will they decorate both sides? If so, they realize that they need to let one side dry. And then, do they want to create an effect like make eyes, for example, or find googly eyes? So all of these things seem really basic to you, but when you're a young child, these are all things that they have to project and think ahead and look at. All of these decisions were not only theirs to make, but led them towards independence and problem solving. Develop cognitive skills. Oh, this is really exciting. And it's so funny because if you ask the parent, how do you develop cognitive skills in your child? Chances are you're going to get the blank stare. However, developing cognitive skills is really important. So quick recap. What the heck are cognitive skills and why are they important? They lead towards thinking, reading, learning, retaining information, and paying attention. They are also used to solve problems, remember tasks, and make decisions. So they're really stinking important. When children learn to paint, draw, and create collages, they work with colors, shapes, and sizes. When they work with markers or glue, they're experimenting, planning, and problem solving. Often with paint, they are mixing colors, and they learn about cause and effect when they mix the colors. Or when they glue like a piece onto their work of art, and then they later want to move it, they learn about cause and effect. Self-expression. It sounds so cliche, but you've heard about the child who is in class and they're drawing pictures that are unseemly because they're violent. Sometimes art is an expression of emotions, whether it is actions they wish they could do, or because they're feeling powerless, or their emotions that are overwhelming them and they have no idea how to verbalize them. Art allows an outlet. Physical development. Okay, this is the biggest joke on me. a former teacher, that both of my boys basically flunked the kindergarten entrance exam. And it was because of their lack of scissor skills. I was the mom who was not going to put scissors in her young boy's hands. However, there is no denying that my boys had excellent gross motor skills and were both a little behind in the fine motor skills department. Art like cutting, drawing, finger painting, or weaving with your fingers develops those little muscles in your hands and helps with fine motor skills. While many of these benefits are categorized similarly for older children, they look just a little different. So like the benefits are going to seem the same. I'm going to show you how they manifest differently, and the link for this is also in the notes. So the benefit of art for elementary age children: creativity and problem solving. Art encourages young minds to think outside the box and envision possibilities. These new ideas often create challenges which teach children how to see and solve new problems. I said all of that like in a little statement, but I don't know if you understand how important that is in any society, that you get people who can think outside of the box. They can see on the horizon obstacles that may arise. That right there in itself is enormous. So I wanted to go through and talk about that a little bit more fully, because just naming it, I don't think you understand the depth of the importance of just that one. Critical thinking. Art often involves making choices regarding color, shapes, and compositions. This decision-making process fosters critical thinking skills as students analyze various options and determine the best way to convey their ideas visually. I love to teach. When I taught social studies and language arts blended. I like to integrate learning. So you can actually naturally integrate art with math with this concept, because children are learning about shapes and patterns, and you can make that into an art activity. Art is a form of nonverbal communication, flat out. You've seen the cave paintings, all kinds of things like that. Students learn to express themselves visually, conveying emotions, stories, and ideas through their artwork. This enhances communication skills and can be brought into a language arts program. Cultural awareness. Art provides a window into different cultures, histories, and traditions. Students can explore art from various regions and time periods, fostering an appreciation for diversity and broader understanding of the world. I don't know how you cannot learn about these other things as you're learning about all of the art, or you're learning about the other things that you see in other cultures and things. So a social studies unit would naturally have the effect of deepening cultural awareness through their art. Persistence and patience. You've heard of the now generation. It's like every generation gets labeled a name. So I was parenting the now I think I was part of the now generation was right under me. It was right around me. But in parenting, the lessons that we were taught about this generation was to create opportunities for our children to be involved in activities that could not be finished right away. This was really important because they were so they'd just gotten involved in the computers or whatever, and everything was right then. Everything could be solved right then. You didn't have to read a whole book. You didn't have to wait for an entire, movie series or whatever to end. Nothing had to wait. It was like everything was right then. I mean, Google. You just Google it and it's right there. So delayed gratification is your friend. And there's all kinds of research that talks about all of these things. Well, what it does is it helps teach persistence and patience. Creating art often requires time and effort. Students learn the value of persistence and patience as they work through the different stages of a project from conception to completion. So you don't even have to go out there and try to find some way to give them delayed gratification. A lot of your art projects naturally lend themselves to this. Cause and effect. These are crucial concepts for children to learn. In the schools, we actually start teaching this, I think, around 3rd grade with stories. For example, this happened because who did what in the story? This kind of thing. It leads to children understanding that their actions have an effect on others in their world. Art shows cause and effect beautifully because when you use different types of materials, and that's when I was talking about that whole glue thing, right? Like you glue something on and then you later want to move it, cause and effect. You can't move it. You can also marry it into your curriculum. Think science boards. That whole thing with the, you have cause and effect in science. And then you have the hypothesis. And then you have, at the end, you have all these things. It's all related to science right there. So a lot of your STEM art projects show that beautifully. Self-expression and confidence. Art offers a safe space for self-expression. As students see their ideas come to light, it boosts their confidence and self-esteem. I don't know if I can express this deeply enough, but I did see this in my classroom because I taught 6th, 7th, and 9th grade. And at that age, many children had already learned they were not a typical student and they had chosen, I'm going to use the expression, fail to thrive in academics because they were just not going to thrive in their mind. So if they were given an assignment, and I would have one in the language arts room, for example, where they could represent their thoughts in whatever form they wanted, but it had to be communicated. I had to be able to understand what their idea was. They bloomed because being able to show what they read, what they thought, what they learned in pictures, for example, some of them chose that, transformed some of these students. Emotional well-being. Have you heard of art therapy? There is a good reason that some therapists have taken art into a counseling session. Art therapy, when done in a clinical way, often has 3 components. Patient creates the artwork, reflects on said artwork, and then connects to it by personally reflecting. All of this is done with the guidance of the professional. Art therapy is used for all ages. It can be done for 3-year-olds and it can be done for 63-year-olds. Art can also be therapeutic. This is not the same thing as art therapy. Coloring has actually been found to improve your mood. Attention flows away from ourselves. It relaxes the brain. And it's totally not important. The low stakes make it really pleasurable. In addition, if you look into color psychology, you will learn that specific colors can affect your mental health and well-being. Specific art forms and their benefits. Sculpture. Now, a lot of these have overlapping. Like a lot of them have the same ones. So I tried to just pick up on different ones. But I think I showed you why art is beneficial. So now what I want to do is I want to look at different kinds of art out there and then show you different things just quickly. I'm just listing them that they can do to benefit. So sculpture, tactile and motor skills, spatial awareness and visualization, problem solving through tactile manipulation, attention to detail and focus. Painting, creativity and imagination, emotional release, cognitive development, fine motor skills. So with sculpture, you had the tactile and the gross motor. Well, with the painting, you had the fine. Drawing, communication skills, attention to detail, problem solving, self-esteem. Photography, visual literacy, perspective and focus, observation skills, technological proficiency. Woodworking, practical skills, patience and perseverance, safety and responsibility, creativity and innovation. Murals, collaboration and teamwork, community engagement, large-scale planning, public speaking, and presentation. So I chose those ones because, as you can see, a lot of them did a lot of different things, and a lot of them were real-world lessons that we need. Art empowers children with the ability to navigate their inner world and communicate it to the outside. It's a language that transcends worlds, fostering their emotional growth, self-confidence, and cognitive abilities. In fact, many child development experts believe that creativity is just as important as learning to read and write. And I absolutely have the note for that and the link for that in the notes. Nurture the artist within your child, for it carries immense benefits beyond splash and paint on canvas. The movie quote, "Not everyone can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere." Anton Ego in Ratatouille.